collide and hearts unite, stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Golden rivers glide through time where dreams and legends meet. Shadows fade with every turn as light restores the beat. Wishes bloom like fireflies beneath the moonlit face. Every moment woven tight inside this boundless space. Beyond the veil of what we see, there's more than meets the eye. Close your doubts and open up where wonder cannot lie. Hand in hand we'll lead to find the world where we belong. Every voice becomes a thread within this living song. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, the stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, the stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Colors splash across the sky, flying high so free. Dreams are soaring overhead, as far as eyes can see. Whispers bridge the silent gap between a wish and star. Every step a melody, no matter where you are. Castles rise from fantasy where clouds begin to play. Laughter dances on the breeze to brighten up the day. Gentle winds that carry tales of heroes brave and strong. Every heart finds harmony within this endless song. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Golden rivers glide through time where dreams and legends meet. Shadows fade with every turn as light restores the beat. Wishes bloom like fireflies beneath the moonlit face. Every moment woven tight inside this boundless space. Beyond the veil of what we see, there's more than meets the eye. Close your doubts and open up where wonder cannot lie. Hand in hand we'll lead to find the world where we belong. Every voice becomes a thread within this living song. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, the stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Magic in the air tonight. tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite with stories we all know. Every smile a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Colors splash across the sky, flying high so free. Dreams are soaring overhead, as far as eyes can see. Whispers bridge the silent gap between a wish and star. Every step a melody, no matter where you are. Castles rise from fantasy where clouds begin to play. Laughter dances on the breeze to brighten up the day. Gentle winds that carry tales of heroes brave and strong. Every heart finds harmony within this endless song. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, stories we all know. Every smile a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Golden rivers glide through time where dreams and legends meet. Shadows fade with every turn as light restores the beat. Wishes bloom like fireflies beneath the moonlit face. Every moment woven tight inside this boundless space. Beyond the veil of what we see, there's more than meets the eye. Close your doubts and open up where wonder cannot lie. Hand in hand we'll lead to find the world where we belong. Every voice becomes a thread within this living song. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, with stories we all know. Every smile a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, with stories we all know. Every smile a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Colors splash across the sky, flying high so free. Dreams are soaring overhead, as far as eyes can see. Whispers bridge the silent gap between a wish and star. Every step a melody, no matter where you are. Castles rise from fantasy where clouds begin to play. Laughter dances on the breeze to brighten up the day. Every smile a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere.
I'm here.
Gentle winds that carry tales of heroes brave and strong. Every heart finds within this endless song. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of a light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere. Golden rivers glide through time where dreams and legends meet. Shadows fade with every turn as light restores the beat. Wishes bloom like fireflies beneath the moonlit face. Every moment woven tight inside this boundless space. Beyond the veil of what we see, there's more than meets the eye. Close your doubts and open up where wonder cannot lie. Hand in hand we'll lead to find the world where we belong. Every voice becomes a thread within this living song. Magic in the air tonight, dancing in the glow. Worlds collide and hearts unite, the stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of a light, a tale we'll always share.
Welcome to the Magic Zoo Crew live stream. Terribly sorry about all the technical difficulties. Really hope y'all can hear me right now. We're testing out some new equipment tonight. We're going to see how this goes. So, I know I'm 30 minutes late. Then again, so is the bus. So this is what happens when you don't have a car on your DCP. It's probably one of the things I'm going to talk about. But we are taking a beautiful stroll through the absolutely gorgeous Riviera Resort here at Walt Disney World. I love coming to the Riviera because it is one of the main resorts that I, as a college program participant, have very direct access to through the bus system. All right, let's see what the audio is as I walk through people. So, cast member bus goes directly to the Riviera Resort. We absolutely love it. Cool. In the past few years, there's a huge delay on Hartsog Road, right where the Flamingo Crossing is. Huge delay at that traffic light. It's kind of a choke point for all the traffic in the area. So trying to make that right turn to get onto the Disney property, it's uh, quite a long wait. So once we got into the Disney bubble, of course, things were about as you'd expect. They were pretty slow. Well, yeah, the traffic is traffic. It's the evening. Everyone's getting off of work. Some of us are going into work. You know how it is. But we've made it and we're here. It's absolutely gorgeous night. So how we doing out there, guys? Yes, we are YouTube professionals. Mostly. We are what I like to say professional amateurs. Because, yeah, professional amateurs for sure. Like, I put enough effort into this, like I should be getting paid, but I'm not. This is just for fun. That's what we're all about here. So then, we're here to do a kind of Walt Disney World Resort walk and talk. I'm walking and I'm talking, and here we are. So just wanted to know if you guys can hear me all right. You know, everything sounds good out there, up out in YouTube land. Walking by the Skyliner here, of course, one of my favorite means of public Disney transportation. It's just so cool, you know. That's another reason why I like coming to the Riviera is you've got direct access through the cast bus system, and through the Skyliner you have direct access to Epcot, and then of course Hollywood Studios, and of course Caribbean Beach, Pop Century. We're back. Okay, I strayed too far from the building, so maybe we won't go so far out. Got it. So that tells me what I need to know. Can y'all hear me? Let's just see here. All right, I'm on my default microphone. That looks like it should be working. Let us know in the YouTube chat, of course, if you can hear me or not. We're giving this thing the college program try. We're going to see if it works. Okay, Natalie says yes. Oh, we've got some echo. Okay. Maybe if I stand still for a moment, that'll help. Is that a little better? Okay. Maybe if I talk a little slower, maybe that'll help. Go ahead in the chat. Let us know if this is going to help out. All righty. Looks like Chris Shue says he can hear me very well. That's awesome. Okay. This is why I love input from the audience, as we call audience participation in show business. I love audience participation. Because it's kind of boring just doing everything by yourself. It's fun to interact. Which is why we're here. Just having a grand old time. It was an absolutely gorgeous day down here at Walt Disney World. It's a nice 80-ish degrees right now. The sun is going down. It's 7 o'clock in the afternoon, evening. There's a nice breeze blowing off the lake. There's an ambulance coming down the road that way. Hope everything's all right. Of course, right across the street from where the Riviera is one of the Orange County fire stations. So we get pretty direct access there. All right, maybe if I unhook this Bluetooth, maybe that'll do something. How is that, everybody? Or maybe, just maybe, uh-oh, got some buffering. There we go. How does that sound to everybody? Go ahead and let me know in the chat, because that'll determine how this all goes. Oh, okay. We're getting some positive feedback here, maybe? All right, all right. Go ahead and let us know down in the YouTube chat how that sounds. Absolutely gorgeous down here. Just walking around. Get myself nice view of the lake down here. Absolutely gorgeous. Maybe if I sit still enough, it can pretend it's a moving painting. Or maybe not. Who knows? Nah, you're just going to have to look at my face. That's okay. Absolutely gorgeous down here. So, go ahead, let us know in the chat if there's any particular topic you would like me to discuss on our little Walt Disney World Resort Walk and Talk. On with the show, of course. Well, if you don't have any particular information that you would very much like to know right off the bat, I can at least start with a couple of topics here. What I'm going to do, I'll find myself a little table here. Hopefully I don't disturb these people. A gorgeous table here. I'm just going to set up my base camp. All right. How's that? All righty, Jedi Sentinel. Hello, Dad. Saying, how's my program going? My program has been most excellent thus far. Started my program at the end of January, whereupon I was enlisted, joined the cause of the Galactic Resistance against the First Order. And that's all well and good because I am a huge, huge Star Wars fan. Okay, I know the sun right here is very bright. Okay, is that a little better? If I hold up my hand like this, maybe that's a little bit better. Okay, that's a little better. Maybe if I do this, no, that's way too shallow. Okay, this will do. Now let the sun set, and we'll talk about my program going. So far, it's been really, really a lot of fun. Of course, I work at Rise of the Resistance. It is a really, 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 really cool attraction in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Matter of fact, it is probably, I dare say, the most popular attraction in Hollywood Studios, with close second and third being perhaps Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. Of course, Tower of Terror being the main park icon because it's the Hollywood Tower Hotel. So that's kind of what people think of when they think Hollywood Studios. But as far as attractions go, it's our attraction that is the premier Lightning Lane purchase for Disney's Hollywood Studios Lightning Lane. So it's kind of a separate purchase when you go for that Lightning Lane. So, and that helps us out in many ways when it comes to handing out Lightning Lanes and such, but also it can be a little bit of a drag sometimes. Because here's the thing, I don't always like that we have to pay for life things. Okay, even cast members have to. We're not even exempt from it. Which, you think, if you work for the company in any capacity, maybe you'd think they'd just let you go. But no, you don't always. So I think sometimes regular cast members get discounts, but I'm not even sure if CPs do. Alrighty, Amanda Pants 1113. Is that what that says? Oh yeah. Amanda Pants, attractions, particularly this time, yes, I did want to do a different role than what I did last time. On my last college program last year, of course, I was in outdoor food and beverage in Animal Kingdom. I had a really, really good time because Animal Kingdom, not only is it slept on as a park to visit, but it is slept on as a park to work at because of those hours where they close off so relatively early in the day. They close at 6 p.m. most days. And as a working man, that's not a bad gig. If you're closing things down, you're leaving by 7, 7:30. Sometimes it's not even dark when you leave. So it's not a bad gig, but of course it was still food service. And I've done food service for much of my career thus far. My job at home, of course, is working for Chick-fil-A, the Lord's Chicken. We love that. But here at Walt Disney World, I didn't necessarily want to do food service again. So I was hoping for, maybe a cool attraction. But as a lifelong nerd and ecstatic Star Wars fan, I could not have asked for a better role. I really do believe I am very, very blessed, and I definitely hit the jackpot with this role. So yeah, I definitely wanted a different role this time, in attractions being among that, or perhaps even entertainment, but definitely attractions, and particularly Star Wars attractions, and this is just the best. It's so much fun. Matter of fact, as of today, actually, I am confirmed to be extending my Disney College program out a little bit longer than I initially thought. So I will be able to be over here longer than I originally anticipated, which just means I'll be able to do more things here on YouTube concerning the Disney parks and resorts here in Florida. So we're all going to have fun together, as that is, So I will be extending my program. I did the extension opportunity in particular, where they said if you like your job, your role, and your location, there's the opportunity for you to stay. I said yes, because I am such an absolute nerd and I love Star Wars and I love the Disney parks and attractions. It's just a dream come true. Magic made for me. So that's one thing, if you really, really, as a cast member especially, if you really like where you work, if you feel that magic there, then you can help make that magic for others, for guests and everything. Ooh, okay, Amanda says, what attractions would I have wanted when I applied? Well, just looking at my overall favorite attractions in all of the parks, I do love Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind over in Epcot. That one's really, really cool. I've heard cool things about, like, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster would also be really, really cool. I just love it. I just like roller coasters, so it's just fun. But I also definitely would have liked to do Jungle Cruise. Now, Jungle Cruise is kind of a, as far as operating the attraction goes, is more simple, but I love the performance aspect of being the funny skipper. As my brother and I have grown up in the family, of course, we're kind of a regular Abbott and Costello type comedy duo, and I'm kind of sort of known to those in my family to be a little bit of a jokester myself. I just kind of have a mind that'll just come up with one-liners and they just come flying out with little to, well, okay. Here lately, especially in the last years, I've put a little more of a filter on myself. But growing up, my family, if I think something's funny, I'm just gonna say it, whether I think I'm gonna say it or not. So definitely, yeah, Jungle Cruise Skipper would have definitely been a fun thing to do. Oh, thank you, Traveling Shoes. That's, yes, it is very great. I love, of course, that's the thing. From what I know of within my other college program cast member circles that I run in order to do Jungle Cruise, I think you have to be trained in some attractions of some type, but also you have to audition into that. So I don't think they just go around handing those out. or at least such is my limited understanding, frankly. So, okay, I'm gonna try something very quick. Maybe this will help. Okay, this. There he goes again. Okay, maybe you can see him back there. Maybe not. The guy in the helicopter. He's always, every single day, he's out and about, just having a grand old time. He's loud too. But yes, definitely. They don't. I'm pretty sure they don't just hand out Jungle Cruise Skipper to just anybody. But for such a time, I might consider maybe I could audition into that. Because like I said, I like being the funny guy. I like aspects of performing, and in what I do for Rise of the Resistance, there is a performance aspect to that as well. Within Galaxy's Edge, it being a fully immersive land of the park, I love that aspect. I love stepping into a story like that. I've always loved storytelling. I've always especially loved Star Wars stories, as I've grown up with them. As growing up as a kid, I literally watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars come out as an actual TV show, and I was absolutely enthralled with it. It was so much fun. So, to see and to be able to step into a world like that is just incredible. And the fact that I get to do that as my job, it is such a blessing. So I do like that there is a little bit of a performance aspect to that, because you're not on Earth as it is. You're on a different planet. You're in a galaxy far away. So to be able to step into that story has been really fun and quite a blessing. And I'm a nerd. I get to live out my nerddom every day at work. It's just the coolest thing ever. Jedi sentences. What can I share? Oh, and what was that was somewhat funny. I guess you meant to say somewhat. Okay, somewhat funny things. I mean, okay. I don't know. There's definitely a limit to things that I can share, but you see funny things every day, no matter what your role is as a cast member. There's just people are funny. You just notice funny things wherever you work, and I noticed funny things in my last program too. Just it's an ample opportunity for people watching, which we love to do. Just people are just so funny, especially you see the circumstances in the park. Okay, we've been at the park all day. We're tired. Our feet hurt. Sometimes kids and their parents alike, they just say the most outlandish things. And as and part of what I do is part of my job. I take what I hear of what people say, and I kind of have to give an immediate response, and I have to respond in theme, in character, as it were. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but I hear funny things. Oh, come on! It's a good example. Good example of a funny thing I heard. Oh yes. So as I was working at a particular position, prepping the ship for takeoff, as it were, I had this little boy in front of me say, "Is the ship up to code?" And I said, "Well, you're about to find out, because of course at that point you have to get everybody on board so they can continue with their mission." So well, yeah, of course. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I don't know if I say, okay. There's things you can ad lib to enhance the experience of the guest. As attractions cast members, we always have our serious things we have to say, like, hey, safety information, here's how to buckle your seatbelt, here's how to, we have to do it in a timely manner too, because any kind of delay in getting your attraction going can cause almost a chain reaction, and the whole system goes down. Maybe not so serious, but those things definitely can happen. If there's too much of a delay, then vehicles can get themselves lost. Normal schedule day in life. Okay, yeah. What's that? Chris Shu. Okay, day in the life as a college program participant. A CP, as we're notably called. It's kind of a joke that, oh, you're a CP, a closing person, because it's us that end up closing down the parks and things. And frankly, we make up a greater addition of the workforce than I think most park guests realize. That random little cast member you see walking around over there, I would say you've got about a 60% chance that they're temporary college program intern. And a lot of attractions, that is the case. And so a typical workday is we close. So, and we're also given minimum of like 28 to 30 hours a week for our working schedules. So that typically runs to about 5-6 hour days of working. So typical 6 hour shift for me, anywhere from 3:30 in the afternoon till about 9:30, closing things down. Or if I'm a hard closer, meaning I'm there after everything's closed down and we do all of our safety checks and whatnot, it's something like 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. So depending on when the park closes, depending on whether or not there's a special event. So normal schedule like that is anywhere from middle of the afternoon till kind of sort of late at night, which is very different from what I did last year, of course, being food service, particularly outdoor vending, being the ice cream carts, drink carts, popcorn, all of that. So that is very different, especially in Animal Kingdom, because they close at 6 o'clock on a regular night. So even if you're scheduled out an hour after close, hey, you're home, or at least you're not home. Definitely not. No, you're on the bus, possibly at 7:30 on your way home. Now, the bus routes that the college program provides, they're its own can of worms, frankly. So there's pros and cons, definitely, to utilizing the bus that is provided for you as a Flamingo Crossings resident. So even on this year, we're on a different bus route because we're on a different park, but seasonally it kind of changes things. You know what? Yes, I am. Traveling shoes. Yes, I am on a fantastic attraction. Frankly, I might be a little biased, of course, but I think it is the best attraction. Now, would I think that if I were at any attraction, I think that my attraction, wherever I am, is the best? I probably wouldn't think that, no. But being I am biased, as I am a Star Wars nerd, as I have said, and I love the lore, okay. In my family, I'm kind of commonly referred to as the lore master of my family, no matter what it is the topic is. I'm the one that goes out and I research things in random books that nobody else in my family's read. I'm like, oh, matter of fact, my brother says, hey, we were watching Star Wars and we had questions about this topic, this event, these characters, and they said this. What does that refer to? I'm like, oh, well, that refers to this novel that came out this year by this person that's technically not canon anymore, but hey, it kind of sort of is canon because it's referenced in the canon show or the canon movie. So whether or not it is canon, I'm the one that settles that dispute in the family, kind of the lore master of the family, and it's much that way, and many other things that we're interested in, like Lord of the Rings. Heck, also, I'm just a giant nerd of many things. I have my little Lord of the Rings sword necklace here. I love my sword cross necklace. I love this thing. It's awesome. Frankly, it gets noticed by quite a few people, like, oh, that's a cool cross. But then they look closer, like, oh, it's from Lord of the Rings, which I'm also a huge fan of. Old, like, kind of literary things like that is very, very fond in my mind. So I love those things. You know what? I'm getting a little thirsty here. I keep drinking my water, of course, which is important. As we always say, hydrate before you dehydrate, because Florida heat will zap your energy right out. So you got to replenish yourself. But what I'm going to do, here at the Riviera, at the outdoor pavilion here, they have what I think is a little gelato cart. I'm going to go check that out really quickly. So come with me. I'm just going to leave this here. Bring you guys with me. Gelato and sorbet. Hey, how we doing? Could I get just I get 2 scoops of chocolate and a cup of anything? Let's do a cup. I think that would be a little easier to handle. 10.60. Alrighty, I got Disney gift card. Scan it or paying with my Disney gift card. We'll see. I'll talk about this in a second. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Got our gelato. Nice cold treat. I'm of the opinion. Oh, they're not talking to me. Okay. I'm of the opinion that it is never too cold for a cold treat, particularly of ice cream. I'll set you guys back down. There we go. And I know that my mother shares that opinion as well. Ooh. Wow. That's really good. Wow. And it's already starting to melt. Yes, good gelato. Always good gelato. Actually, I've only ever had gelato from this cart on maybe one or two other occasions. It's been a while. You better eat it quickly while I talk. All right. So, any other questions in the chat? Uh-oh. The breeze is blowing. I'm going to lose all my stuff. Already doing a nice. No, I didn't see a name tag on my gelato helper. I don't know. Go ahead and ask any other questions. Keep them coming. Because we're here to just have fun, chill out, enjoy the beautiful scenery. Character auditions. Well, I do. No. Okay. Before I make an absolute mess here. Paperweight. There we go. Character auditions. Pardon me. I went to one character audition last year before my first program. They held them in Atlanta, Georgia, near where I'm from. So it was relatively convenient. And that process, I'm not sure what character things they were looking for. It was immensely vague, or perhaps with what they had us do. They gave us each an audition number that linked up with our Disney audition profiles, which I set up prior to attending the event. So, of course, on that profile, I had, my reasonable skills. I've done some acting. I've done public speaking, of course, through the church. And, of course, I'm a vocalist, speaker, singer, all that. As evidence, I'm here talking to you guys. And, of course, I sing. At the time, I sang every week at church, of course. So I've done these certain things. So I put that on my auditions profile. Now, what I did not put on there was, of course, any kind of dancing. Of course, I'm never really a good dancer. I kind of have the mobility of a oak tree. I don't move unless a hurricane hits me in the face. So, unfortunately, this particular Disney audition that I went to was for parade dancing, and I gave it my all. And they said, "Thank you very much for coming out, but I think we're just gonna move on and not call your number." So, typically, how it is, they go through several rounds through the audition process. And if they call your number, that means you're going to stick around, do another round. If they don't call your number, that means thank you so much for coming, but we don't really need you. Goodbye. Now, on one hand, I was kind of relieved. I'm like, okay, this is clearly not for me, or at least that particular portion was not for me. But I did, okay. Okay, my brother says, I did have a decent energy. Much of it kind of reminded me what I did through my high school choir days. It was the basic kind of blocks choreography that we would put to our Broadway numbers. So it kind of brought me back a little bit, so to speak. But frankly, I was never any good at those either. So obviously, I did not continue with that process. But that's at least that particular character audition that I went to was for some kind of parade performance type role, which I probably would not be any good at. And depending on your status, whether you're part-time, full-time, college program participant, if you extend your program in a character performer capacity, which is a possibility, my roommate's sister, matter of fact, did this, and she now has the opportunity to work with several incredible characters. She did that with her college program extension, which she will be finishing up around the time that my initial program will end. So there is that option. Should you do your college program, choose to extend it into character performance, there's a myriad of things that they could ask you to do. Okay, so it looks like my autofocus is, okay, yeah. The sun is sinking in the west, and it's causing my autofocus to go nuts. Is that a little bit better, guys? If I get a little closer. Amanda says, auditions are still a great experience. Sounds like it was memorable for you. It was memorable, yes. They had other opportunities while you're on your Disney program that, sometimes they'll just do open call auditions there locally, which is what they do quite often. So depending on what they're looking for, matter of fact, here recently I saw, because I try to keep up with the Disney profile, auditions profile. My brother helps me out a good deal with that because he keeps track of it as well. Like, hey, they're looking for this. I'm like, oh, that would be cool. And, maybe I'll try my hand at that. They were recently putting out local audition calls for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. However, caveat to that being you had to already be a part-time or full-time employee, not a CP. So unfortunately, I was ineligible for that one. But still would have been a fantastic time had I been able to actually apply for that. Sometimes they even do online submissions, auditions as well. That's one thing that I think kind of was in the wake of what happened through COVID and performing and whatnot. Online auditioning is basically skyrocketed, absolutely. And so, you send in a video clip of yourself, performing what it is the auditioner is looking for. And, that has become a bigger medium that Disney has even started to use themselves. So sending in video auditions or, audio auditions, if you're like looking for vocal work, certainly takes a lot of the pressure off of it. Because when you're there in person, it's a totally different energy. You have to, it's kind of like standing before a judge. Well, it is standing before a judge because they are judging you in a way. So you have to, speak when you're spoken to. You have to fulfill all these things. There's a lot of pressure in that moment. But doing things online, almost lost my water. Doing things online definitely helps take away some of that pressure. Let's see here. Go ahead and finish eating my gelato here. Go ahead and keep putting in your questions. We'll see if I can't get to as many as I can. And some people would think it's kind of awkward eating on camera. I'm kind of used to it by now. There's all kinds of videos that we've done thus far of me eating on camera, so I'm not too disturbed by it. As soon as I'm done here, we're going to get back up. We're going to continue walking around. As the Riviera Resort is absolutely gorgeous. Especially, the sun's going down. It has it has a nightlife of its own, so it's really, really cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll go get myself a snack over at Cafe Prima Piatto. Actually, it's really, really good quick service cafe down here. They have some incredible offerings of which I've sampled many times. So maybe, if you guys say so, maybe we'll go and do that. Go to Cafe Prima, I think Prima Piatto. European something. I don't know. I'm not. Look, the only languages I'm really good with is, of course, English. I know a little bit of Spanish, and I've sung in multiple other languages only because I just memorized the sound of the syllable without actually knowing what it means. And if you're a choir kid, you don't. You totally get that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe if I can get a little snack later. I just did this because I needed something cold, and well, the guy was right over there. So. Go ahead, keep asking your questions. Got plenty of time here. I'm not sure if it'll show me with this particular. My view window might be too small. I wonder how many of us are actually on here tonight. All right. About 6 people right now. Hey, better than none. I could just be sitting here talking to a blank screen. Dad Shoe. Hello, David. Hello, Dad Shoe. How you doing? How y'all doing? Noticed y'all were in Epcot yesterday while I was at work. Got home from work and kind of watched the live stream. Went back and watched it because a lot of stuff happened. That's the thing about working the kind of hours that I work. A lot happens while I'm at work, so I don't always get to experience it live. Dad Shoe just finished hot yoga. You do hot yoga, Dad Shoe? Really? I wonder what that's like. Hot yoga. Is that like yoga in a sauna or over a stovetop, or I don't know what that is. Let's see. Amanda says, ever travel to Skyline Chili from Flamingo Cross? Yes. All right. Tell the owner, Dan, Casey Shoe. Okay. Alrighty. I have been there on a couple of occasions. It is over by the Western Flamingo Crossings area where I lived last year. I lived at the West Campus last year, and so I did go there a good amount of times. A lot of times, my Bible study group would hand out little Coney cards, little free Conies. We would hand those out as prizes for our Bible study groups. Those were a lot of fun. But yeah, I haven't been over there as much this time because I'm over at the other campus, over on the other side. So, but I might, on occasion, walk through there, get me a chili dog or two. I love good chili dogs. It's awesome. Skyline Chili, it's been a while. That's one thing.
Cincinnati style chili, you know, it's to those who, of course, don't grow up around it, it's a little strange for some people, but I'm rather fond of it myself. Shoes are big fans of the chili. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's what. Yeah, one thing you think putting cocoa powder in chili. That's I don't know. What? Hey, it works. Alright, I'm gonna finish this up, clean this up, and gather up my gear. We're gonna continue walking and talking. Okay. Alright, so in our other little chat here, you know, we've got a question. Okay, magical moments that I help create. Of course, every day, well, I won't say every day. Most days working for Walt Disney World is very magical. And the fact that I get to help make that magic is incredible. But, you know, making a little extra magic, those are the moments that I really, really love. You know, whether it's connecting one-on-one with a guest or helping out a whole family. I had this one family who came through. It was the attendant working the lightning lane. And let's see. Yeah, so they had redemption lightning lanes for something else, but of course, sometimes the redemption lightning lanes don't work on our attraction because we're a separate tier lightning lane for all of that. So, say you're on Slinky Dog and it breaks down, they give you the little redemption pass. It does not one-to-one translate to us, unfortunately. That's one thing that always confuses people, but you know, of course, go on your My Disney Experience app, you look under your lightning lane redemption, you'll scroll down, you'll see where it works, all the attractions it'll work for. Sometimes people don't understand that, and that's totally valid. I don't even understand it myself. That they just had they had had a hard day in the park. You know, there was midday, they were tired, they're hot, multiple rides had broken down for them. And so I could just kind of see they were feeling a little frustrated, definitely. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to see what I can do. So I took a quick gander at our little lightning lane, saw it wasn't necessarily like hopping busy. You know, it's kind of a downtime in the middle of the day. People are usually off getting a cold drink somewhere, so we were a little not so busy. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'll be able to accommodate them. So I counted them up, let them through, and you know, just little moments like that. We're often encouraged by our leadership. You know, if you can make some magic every now and then, you know, along the way as you go. You know, of course, you can't necessarily abuse the system, so you can't just be handing out freebies to everyone. But if you can, you know, find someone who just really needs just that little extra help, whether it's help with their My Disney Experience app or just they just want to get their day going a little smoother, we're always encouraged to help out when and where we can. So that's always rewarding, always fulfilling. Always love those things. First assignment. Okay, Dad Shoe. First assignment. Now, is that first assignment at my current job or at my last program? Let's see. First assignment at this job in particular, fresh out of training, I believe I was at one of the unload stations. That's right. Yes, I was at one of the unload stations where, of course, we get the folks off the vehicles, tell them, okay, yeah, gather up all of your loose items, don't leave anything behind, you know, exit out this way. So we get them all out of the vehicles. My assistant goes through and checks out, make sure there's nothing left behind, everything's good and show ready. They give me the all clear sign. And I, with a full chest, just reached down to my little control console and I pushed the wrong button on my very first time. And so I realized I pushed the stop button, not the, it wasn't an emergency stop button, but it was a refill stop button to like make sure vehicles wouldn't come into my little load zone anymore. I just pushed the button. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not right. And as soon as I hit the button, my little intercom thing beeped and I said, yeah, my bad. Wrong button. They said, okay, you know how to fix it, right? I said, I think so. And so they're like, okay, you do this and this. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So we got it taken care of. But yeah, first day out of training, it was one of my first things that really sticks out in my memory. Yeah, I pushed the wrong button. Nobody was hurt, you know, it wasn't any like safety thing, but you know, had it not, or rather had it gone on untreated or whatever, you know, it could have been a kind of a shutdown for the ride. So it's, you know, that's like depending on what attraction you're working, there's 100 different things you got to think of all at once. You know, you got to keep the guests flowing through. You got to make sure everyone's having a good time. You got to make sure things are operating smoothly. Everything's good. Vehicles, everything, you know, everything going around you. Sometimes it's a lot to keep track of. So, you know, it's, you know, especially right out of training. I remember, you know, we were closing down shop one time. It was a group of us who had all been trained together. And I'm walking through, checking on everybody. I'm like, hey, everybody okay? Because, you know, I didn't have much else to do. My leader said, hey, go check on people, see if they need like a water break or something. I said, yeah, okay, cool. So I walked through and I said, hey, everybody, you need to figure like, hey, can you stand here and help out for a second? I said, yeah, sure. So I'm standing there and helping out. My coworker just kind of turns away and has a little mini cry session in the corner. I'm like, you good? She goes, yeah, I'm just a little overwhelmed. I said, okay, I'm just gonna keep things running, keep things rolling. Of course, we were clear guests at this point, so you know we're just kind of keeping things rolling, getting through our end of night procedures, and so I was able to step in, help out shortly after we were all out of training. So yeah, training is rather extensive and with good reason. You know, it is a safety critical role, so that's one thing you have to think about. You know, when you want to come work for the company or work for the parks, especially, you know, safety is the most important thing. You know, it is the first of the 5 keys of success for the Walt Disney Parks. Safety is the most important thing. And, you know, kind of like I said in our recent Thunder Mountain video, there's a lot of training that goes into it with the cast members and everything to make sure people are safe, which is a good thing because, yeah, you know, I don't necessarily think you can always just grab somebody off the street and say, hey, do this. So I'm like, okay. Took me a while to get there, but, you know, you acclimate, you get there eventually. So that's kind of what my first couple of assignments were like, fresh out of training with this program. As far as last program goes, my first couple of assignments, they were pretty standard stuff, you know, working quick service, or rather not quick service, but outdoor food and beverage, very similar to any, like basically it's almost like working in any fast food restaurant. So it was pretty natural to me at that point because, of course, you know, back home, I work at Chick-fil-A. I've worked in some manner of service industry pretty much my whole working life. You know, I've done retail work, I've done food service, back of house, front of house, you know, I've done all that stuff. So now I just do it for Disney, you know, and so it's pretty simple. You know, so nothing really stands out as far as my first program goes. Although I did do a stint in a quick service location they were on a personnel shortage. They pulled some of us from the outdoor food and beverage ice cream carts to go over to the Africa section to work over there. And they said, hey, they need some help. They just need some personnel. It's like, it's basically the same computer system. You do all the same things. You're just going to work over there at the restaurant instead of working at the cart. I said, oh, okay. So I did that for a little while and had a great time. You had, you know, great leadership, great coworkers over there. Everyone, you know, every community or every like little area that you work at, you quickly build a bond with a lot of people you work with. And I'm still very good friends with one of the people that I met over there to this day. It was so much fun. So that's always a cool thing. So I'm going to grab this very quickly. Take you guys with me down and around. Let's keep going. Got my water bottle because I think we'll need that. Definitely. And on we go. There we go. Sunset behind me. Look at that. That's so pretty. Questions or anything that you have for me talking about my Disney College program?
talking about just different things we got going on at Walt Disney World. I don't know everything. By golly, I know I don't know everything, but I know a few things. There we go. That's supposed to mean whoa, whoa, whoa. And there we go. Sorry, I walked a little too far away from the building. It lost me. There we go. We're back. I'm back. Here we go. Keep asking those questions. Always happy to answer that of which. Oh. Down here on this walking path, you turn one way, you go back towards the main building, you turn the other way. They take you on to the Boardwalk Resort and the Yacht and Beach Club resorts as well. But I don't know if they would let me walk that far without losing signal. I know. Here we go. Walking around. What should I do next, y'all? I know what I'm gonna do next. And that is get me some water. A little water fountain over here. We'll walk by it. There's a big old water slide there at the pool. That's really, really cool. How many hours a week am I scheduled? Alrighty, that's a very good question, Dad Shoe. Working as an intern for the Walt Disney Company usually means I get about 28 to 30 hours a week. That's kind of the minimum. Now, there's usually opportunity to work more, but a lot of times there's just so many of us, they can't necessarily spread out all the hours. So you're guaranteed as a worker about 28 to 30 hours a week. Gotta hydrate. Okay. So yeah. Keep walking this way. Keep walking. So yeah, usually you're scheduled about 30-ish hours a week. Like I said, that's usually comes in the form of 5-6 hour days with a couple of days off here and there, although not necessarily always. Multiple times, you'll do a stint where you work 6-hour shifts, but you may work 10 to 12 days in a row and then have 3 or 4 days off in a row. So really depends on the season of which we're in, what events are going on, whether or not you stay late sometimes to like a after hours park event. So there's definitely some give and take there, but you usually get about 30-ish hours a week. Now you have the opportunity, of course, to pick up extra shifts, and you can probably pick up to about 40-ish hours a week. And then sometimes, even if they approve it, you can get more than 40 hours a week if they just happen to approve the OT. But that doesn't always happen. So 30 to 35-ish is probably about the cap that I would say is my scheduled work hours. Now, if I decide to pick up more than that, totally my prerogative. But that's the thing. Whether you work a 6-hour shift and go home at 10:30, or you work an 8-hour shift and go home at 10:30, you're still going home at 10:30 and you're still tired. So, frankly, I would rather be but by the building. Okay, we're back. I'm right by the building. I don't know what happened there. It's right here. I didn't move. There we go. So like I said, of course, sometimes you get overtime. It's about 30 to 35 hours a week, which is basically just enough to cover your rent at Flamingo Crossings, because of course that's taken directly out of your paycheck. Oh, it sounds like they're doing some kind of trivia. Pack a lunch or buy a property? A lot of times, especially here lately, you pack a lunch. Definitely, because it is expensive to eat on property anywhere, frankly. And like I said, your rent is taken directly out of your paycheck, so that already cuts down on your take-home pay. So you still get to buy groceries, take care of any other personal expenses that anybody has. So if your take-home pay is anywhere from like $217 a week, I mean, it's a decent amount. Sometimes it's not even that much, but still got to buy groceries. Still, if you have a car, you got to pay for gas, and gas in Orlando is certainly not cheap. So a lot of times you do end up packing lunch if you happen to have a shift that is long enough to warrant packing a lunch, because if you're only working a 6-hour shift, then you usually get 1 to 2 15-minute breaks in the middle of your 6-hour shift. So a lot of times you don't even have time to eat a fully packed lunch unless you're given a proper lunch break, which if you're always working 6-hour shifts, you're not. So usually what I do, at least, eat a good amount of food right before I go into work, so I have enough energy to get the job done during my work shift. And then when I come home, have a little snack or something. And then usually it's time to go to bed by the time that happens. So I'll eat a little snack or something and go to bed, and then wake up, and of course you have from the morning all the way up until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon to do stuff around the house, to eat, shop, do laundry. So packing a lunch is usually very helpful if you work a shift long enough that warrants you getting an actual lunch break. But if you only have a 15-minute break, peanut butter crackers go a long way in just 15 minutes. So having a little snack or something there, just keep you going throughout your shift, very, very helpful. Anyway, of course, there at the Flamingo Crossings Village area, there's multiple restaurants and things. Last year, on many occasions, I would get off late at work, and some of the restaurants are open late specifically for the cast members who are always getting off work at atrocious hours. So like the Wendy's there across the street from Flamingo West, they stay open till 3 in the morning, or at least there does. But they stay open tremendously late. They stay open tremendously late, and so I'd go there, put in a mobile order, pick it up on my way home, and so it's a very convenient thing, if not always the cheapest option. But there comes a time where you're just sick of eating chicken and rice all week, which, as a broke college boy living on his own-ish, you tend to eat like that quite a bit. So you learn a few really good struggle meals. You get really good at cooking them, and that's how you food prep throughout the week. One thing I have done
on this, one of my favorite things to meal prep is I have a tiny little crock pot that I got for Christmas. And so I'll put a chunk of beef or pork in there with a bunch of vegetables, potatoes, or whatever, let it cook for 6-ish hours while I'm at work. Come home, fully done crock pot meal. I'll eat a portion and then portion it up into the rest of my food prep for the rest of the week. And it's a lot of fun, and it's cost effective, and it's very convenient as well. So that is one of the hacks that I've kind of learned. Find yourself a really good struggle meal that you're not tired of eating over and over and over, and let that be the thing that sustains you through those lean paycheck days. Let's see. Am I taking online classes? No, I am not. Not currently. I did consider it, but given this new role in attractions, it is not necessarily the most time conducive. Now, it's totally possible, but I'm working these late hours. Sometimes you got to show up for online lectures with those, or something. You just, it's not always the most convenient thing. While it can be done, I personally am not doing those. So I might need to rethink that. I don't know. We'll see. But there is the option to do that as well. And the Disney company themselves, they offer learning classes and whatnot through the Disney programs. If you want to do a course in hospitality or management or any kind of thing, but that Disney can help you out with, they will host their own classes. And so if you get through a number of those, you can get a little certificate that says you have a doctorate, like a Donald Doctorate in business, or a Master's in entertainment, or a Goofy graduate degree in hospitality, something like that. There's always, that Disney offers their own classes like that as well. Totally optional. You don't have to go to those. If that's the kind of thing you're into, it can definitely, jazz up your experience on the college program. I personally haven't taken much interest in them, but they're out there. So definitely a possibility. All right. What activities are available? Okay. So there at the Flamingo Crossings Village, of course, there's all kinds of activities, both indoor and outdoor. At the community center, they've got all kinds of amenities. They've got pool tables, foosball tables, ping pong. They've got gaming systems set up in the lobby. They've got like a giant TV screen where you can request for them to put on a movie or whatever if your friends want to watch a movie all together. There's all kinds of cool things. Also, the second floor of that community center is one giant gym where you can get your swole on, which I find myself doing on quite a few occasions just because it's a free gym and it's a nice gym. It's a very nice gym. So I often try to go and get my exercise done through them. Working through Disney, you're always on your feet walking, getting all your steps in. So you don't necessarily need to go to the gym for cardio's sake, but go lift the free weights or whatever. And help keep yourself in shape. Because it's very easy. If you're not eating the right kind of food, if you're just eating the wrong kind of junk food that's convenient but not good for you, and you're not really keeping up with your health, there are all manner of lasting effects it can have, even if you are on your feet for anywhere from 6 to 12 hours a day, or longer. Because if you're someone like me, you're on your feet working all day, but then I don't have a car, so much of my own transportation is just my own little 2 feet. So even if I'm not walking around at work, I'm still walking around everywhere else because that's the only way I can get anywhere. So keeping up with your physical health is super, super important, especially as we go through the different 6 seasons. I came down at late winter, and we had this big rush of norovirus come through Orlando. I don't even know where I am. Had this big rush of norovirus come through, and matter of fact, we were on a Bible study trip, and 70% of us got sick with norovirus on this trip.
or rather, subsequently, we got sick after had all been on this trip. And yeah, so a lot of us were very sick for a couple of days. We were like, what happened? And then we realized, oh, norovirus just kind of swept through Orlando and yeah, made everybody sick for a little bit. So keeping up with your physical health is super, super important, especially if you're not from an area like Florida or locally like Alabama, Georgia, those kind of other local states. If you're not used to the climate, the humidity, just the overall Florida swampiness that you're going to be living and working in, yeah, it's quite a shock to your immune system. So you have to be making sure that you're keeping on top of your immune system, taking your vitamins, all your immune boosts and things, whatever home remedies you have, like what we have. So yeah, I've been sick one time, like really sick one time this whole so far of my experience, and I've done everything in my power to keep that from happening again, because you kind of sort of can't afford to miss even a single day of work from a certain point of view. Because if you call out sick, well, then that gets you a point for attendance. And if you do that multiple times and you get enough points, or if you go 10 days in a row without working at all, that's like an automatic termination of your program. Because, hey, you're not working, you're kind of here to work. So if you go 10 days in a row with not working, that's kind of a problem. So if you're missing all these days due to being sick, they could just not really fire you, but in a sense, yeah, they could fire you because you're not at work, you're not doing your job. So stay healthy is, yeah, staying healthy is a very, very important thing. So, if you ever want to try it out, then yeah, it's just one thing you gotta think about. Okay. I know y'all can hear the swing. I know it's a little squeaky. I'm gonna stop that, but it's fun. It's a nice little corner here. There's a giant chessboard that somebody has just absolutely desecrated. But yeah, thank you guys so much for participating in the chat so far. Thanks to the shoes, including Dad's shoe, of course. Thank you guys for coming out, just hanging out and chatting. Always love answering the questions. It's a lot of fun. Kind of wondering, should we do this more often? Because this is a lot of fun. It's been pretty cool. Just coming out, just hanging out, chilling, talking with everybody. I like answering the questions. Keep them coming. We're just here talking about my Disney College program, both past and current, and even possible future plans as well. Everything that happens working for Walt Disney World as a college program intern. There's no shortage of things to talk about, certainly. Nice breeze. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. What was I talking about? Mentioned, you have to stay on top of your health. Oh yeah, other activities around, through the Disney programs. They do offer some opportunities, when you're staying here, or rather staying at the Flamingo Crossings area and then working here on Disney property, or what's commonly referred to as the Disney bubble. It can get a little boring sometimes. Now, that might sound blasphemous, like living at Walt Disney World is boring. And yes, it kind of is if you're kind of stuck here with no way to get out, especially if you don't have your own car. If you're constantly working and then constantly just doing the same old things around your apartment or whatever, and there's no breaking up of the monotony, it can get a little boring. So that's why Disney programs, oftentimes, they offer cool activities through their dorms, Disney programs, I don't even know what they call it, but the Disney program, they offer cool learning opportunities. Like they'll bring in like musicians, actors, voice actors,
celebrities, this, that, and the other thing. They'll bring people like that in to do sit-down talks, interviews, panels. Like they recently did a panel with Ashley Eckstein, the voice of the Star Wars character Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars and Rebels. They brought her in to do a little talk through the Disney programs thing. They've done things like they recently they took us to medieval times dinner and tournament there on the other side of Orlando in the Kissimmee area. Pay a little fee, of course, for the ticket, and then they bus us over there. This big old thing. Had such a good time. I always loved going to medieval times. I'm such a nerd. Guys. So yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. So Disney Programs was able to set that up for us, and we had a great time. So there's always cool opportunities that the Disney Programs team offers. If you want to like get out of the Disney bubble, as it were, for a little while. Let's see. Amanda says, "My major. What am I planning on? And am I planning on having a career at Disney?" Very interesting question there. So I don't really have a specific major. I've done a couple of classes online through a local tech institute back home. Did a couple of online classes in a logistics course, which I thought, okay, yeah, that could be useful. Everybody needs logistics at some point. So as to whether or not I will continue with that, it definitely be up in the air. It's one of those kind of do it at your own pace type programs, which I love because, especially coming through the end of high school and they did all the hybrid learning stuff. Some ways it helped out, but in other ways I was not the best student academically. I always thrive better when I'm able to like physically work on something, which is why I love work so much. And then as far as a career at Disney, certainly it's looking more and more like it could be a possibility. With Disney, they cover such a wide array of career options. I've always been interested in the entertainment aspect. I've always loved vocal performance, physical performing. I've always loved stuff like that. I was a band and a choir kid going through middle and high school. Always loved that. So seems like a perfect place to get on with Disney. And, if I could have a particular role that I have here and with my current program working at Galaxy's Edge, that's just the coolest thing. So given certain opportunities and whatnot that could arise, I could definitely see myself sticking on with the company, whether or not as if I go directly part-time, full-time or whatever, or finish out this program and then come back and do another program and just kind of see where that leads. That's the thing. There's a lot of flexible options when it comes to working for the Disney company. It's a lot of fun, and they'll work with you. If you have like certain issues or whatever, need certain accommodations, they will do what they can to make things work for you. Because there's all you come to the amount of people that come through the Disney programs, both through the college program and through the international exchange program. They've got all kinds of accommodations that they offer for their workers and their interns. So there's no shortage of opportunity. It's really, really cool. So, okay, Chris says, okay, how often do I go to the parks? Well, really depends. Of course, obviously, I work in the parks every day when I'm working. So I guess it could be every day. Well, not quite every day. But I'm off today, and I did not go to the parks yet today. So I would say if I'm not working, I would say at least once a week, like in my off time, depending on, especially in our Bible study, we'll get a group of people together like, hey, we want to go do this, or like, we want to go to this park, go do this thing. And, there's always somebody to hang out with. That's one thing. Kind of a contrast between this program and my last program. I've made and developed a lot more friendships between my Bible study group and just my coworkers in general. So I've had a lot more opportunities to go and just do cool things in the parks. So when I'm not working, it's about 1 to 2 times a week. And of course, I'm doing the videos and such, which you kind of have to be in the parks for those, depending on what your video topic is. So usually I'll go to the parks with the intent to do a video. I'll do the video portion and then just spend the rest of my time just gallivanting and having fun. Like, case in point, this last Friday, I went to Magic Kingdom in the afternoon to do a little showcase on the Big Thunder Mountain rework. It was a lot of fun. So I finished up that video, hung out in Adventureland a little bit, got myself a Dole Whip. It was really nice. And then got the notification that Traveling Shoes were live over in Hollywood Studios. I said, "Oh, that's so cool! I'm off today. Why don't I go and maybe see if I can find them?" And we found them. It was great. And so we had a fun time just hanging out with them, hanging around Galaxy's Edge, and there on Commissary Lane. It was such a fun time. You guys are awesome. It was really, really cool hanging out with you guys. I'd definitely love to do it more in the future. That's the thing, working everybody, all of your friend groups, no matter, they always have like an interesting schedule because everybody's schedule is different wherever you're working, whether you're attractions, food and beverage, merchandise, whether you work in the morning or the evening. If you're a college program participant, you're usually a closer. So you're always working late into the night. But your off days, you get to just relax. Whether you have an agenda or not, just go to the parks just to have fun. Because really, going to the parks within reason, whenever we want, is kind of the main perk that we have as college program participants. Now, of course, there are certain days where we're blocked out of a certain park for some event. Usually, it's Magic Kingdom. That's the one that gets blocked out the most because it's the most popular. So certain days, like certain festivals or whatever, we're just blocked out or can't get a reservation with our little admission pass. So sometimes we can't necessarily always go to one specific park, but there's 3 other parks that you can go and have fun at, depending on what time of day, what you want to go get done. So hanging out in the parks is always fun. Like just this last month, we were able to go to Epcot. Our Bible study group put together a International Day of Prayer celebration through Campus Crusades Ministries. So that's that's the people that run our Bible study. So they had an International Day of Prayer celebration. So what we did was, all of us who had our self-admission pass, we all went to Epcot and we did prayer walks around World Showcase, which was a ton of fun. Getting to meet and hang out with all the people from around the world. That's really cool thing about working for Epcot, I guess, in World Showcase. Most of those employees and whatnot there at World Showcase really are from those countries. So it's really cool to meet and talk with them, people all over the world. And even if you're not necessarily in Epcot, in World Showcase, no matter where you're at, literally, there's probably somebody who's not from the United States that you're a coworker with, and it's really, really cool. So you meet all kinds of really, really cool people. And then, of course, you develop your friendships and you get to go hang out with them in your parks on your day off. So that's always a really, really cool thing. Alrighty. The sun is sinking in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The redwing settles in her nest. It's time for a cowboy to dream. That's all. That always goes through my head. I'm such an old soul. I'm such old-fashioned. Because all I see is the sunset behind me. That's all that goes through my head. Purple eyes in the canyon. That's where I long to be, with my 3 good companions. Just my rifle, pony, and me. Oftentimes, I often think, what if I could create a Star Wars version of that song? Because on Batu, of course, there's not one sun, there's 3 different suns that Batu orbits around. So that's why it's so hot, is there's 3 suns. Tatooine has 2 suns. Batu apparently has 3 suns. That's why it's so hot. So the suns are sinking in the west. Okay, you got to find a Star Wars version of cattle. I don't think Batu has banthas. That's kind of the Star Wars version of cattle. Yeah, might have to come up with that. Might have to rethink that. Do a Star Wars version of that song. Since I work in Star Wars land. Any other questions about, my time here in the Disney College program? Like I said, We're just hanging out here to answer your questions about the Disney College Program, my experiences, funny things that have happened. Matter of fact, okay, just the other day, funny thing happened that I was told about at work. I go into work, it's like 4:30 in the afternoon. I said, okay, what's going on here today? And they said, well, we've gone down twice today. I said, oh boy, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it? If you don't know, Rise of the Resistance is rather notorious for going down multiple times throughout the day because it's such a technical ride. There's so many things that go into it. And so if one of those things isn't quite right, of course, kind of shut the ride down. You got to evac people. So, a million different things that can happen that can cause a shutdown. Well, I asked my coworker, I'm like, what happened? He said, apparently a squirrel ran into the ride path. Now, of course, if you've never ridden the attraction, there's a portion at the exit where the ride path is both inside and outside. Because the vehicle, you get out of the vehicle, then it loops back around, goes back inside so we can continue to refill it. I'm not even sure how that whole system works, frankly. But I just know there's a portion of the track that is both inside and outside. Well, apparently, this manic squirrel ran through after raiding somebody's stroller because apparently he had a portion of a Pop-Tart hanging out of his mouth. And so, according to my coworker, this squirrel with a Pop-Tart hanging out of his mouth ran into the ride path, didn't leave, it just kind of sat there, and then continued forward into the little section that kind of borders the inside and outside. So, of course, he's in the ride path. We don't want the squirrel to get hurt. We don't want to just deal with that whole mess that would most definitely happen. So we had to do a brief shutdown just so we could get the animal control, or at least to shoo the squirrel out of there. Because, one of Disney's big things is conservation, be kind to the wildlife. We all feel the same way. And of course, you got to respect animals. We got to keep everything safe. There's a number of squirrels, bunny rabbits, birds, all around all the parks. So we try to keep them all as safe as possible. And it's hard to do when a squirrel's just running into the ride path. So they had a brief shutdown, apparently. And I said, okay, I don't think I've ever heard that before. A squirrel with a Pop-Tart runs through and shuts down the ride. I just had to chuckle. Of course, they fixed it. The squirrel got out, was fine. Went on to raid somebody else's stroller. So always a good time. That's the thing. Working, especially when I worked food and beverage, seeing the squirrels in Animal Kingdom, they're smart. They know how to open a bag of chips like that. So whenever we park strollers or whatever, I always try to tell people, hey, don't leave food just sitting there. Because the Disney wildlife, they're used to it at this point. They know, hey, that bag probably has some food in it. So I've seen literally a squirrel run up to a stroller, unzip the backpack or whatever, grab a bag of chips out of it, and scamper off, and then just tear into the bag of chips, leaving a big mess for our custodians to go clean up. It's a whole thing, and it happens more often than you might think. Particularly in Animal Kingdom, I've noticed those squirrels, they're fat. There's some chunky boys over there. So, yeah, it's always a fun time watching the animals just be themselves, but also like they've been conditioned like, oh yeah, we're in a theme park, people are gonna leave food around. Go ahead and get myself a drink here because this been talking too much. Matter of fact, what I'm gonna do. These guys, I'll leave y'all to it. Had a couple come in, they were setting up the life-size chessboard. I didn't want to get in their way or disturb them. So we're just going to continue to walk around. Still beautiful as ever. Now the sun is properly going down. You get to see the Riviera all nice and lit up. It's nice and pretty. Absolutely gorgeous walking by the lake. All back. Okay, we're back. I almost lost you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to walk really slow so I don't skip out on the video signal. Any other questions that you might have for me? Feel free to go ahead and leave them in the chat. Like I said, we're just having fun, walking through the beautiful Riviera Resort here at Walt Disney World. I'm just here to answer your questions and hang out and talk. It's a nice little walk and talk. Okay, good question. Is Disney strict to work for? Well, that is at the very same time, yes. And at the same time, a resounding no? Question mark? Maybe. Here's the thing. Disney, of course, has all manner of rules and decorum to help, upkeep, the reputation of the company. Disney is the way it is because of their particular reputation of being an incredibly profitable, obviously, but of course, family-friendly brand. So certain things, of course, you always have to remember you represent the brand no matter what. Even if you're off duty, even if you're just hanging out, having fun, you do something stupid even in your off hours, and if there's a way that they can think that they'll find out about it, they probably will. And certain actions could be taken because they don't mess around. So, if you go off wild and crazy and start saying this or that or giving away secrets or whatever, you run your mouth too much, that kind of thing. You just got to be careful. You always be judicious. Always remember that you uphold a brand, you uphold a standard of workmanship. And so that's always important. And so much like in the way that Chick-fil-A has said, or at least as I've learned from my Chick-fil-A operators back home, you are to be a steward of the brand. As much in the way that Chick-fil-A is as well. Set y'all down here. This might not have been the right spot. It should be fine. So, in much the way that Chick-fil-A is, you are to be a steward of the brand. So, the way you talk, speak to others, act. Hang on. There we go. The way you talk to others, when you speak in your off-duty hours, you are to represent the brand in all things you do. It's an honorable place to work, and so but there are certain things they don't mess around. So if you're doing not so savory things even in your off hours or whatever, then somehow they will know, because the mouse always knows. So it's always good. There we go. Sorry about that. It's always good to always be aware that, hey, you're not just working for yourself. And then, of course, my personal beliefs is you don't just work for yourself. You also work for God. You are to be a good steward for not only your bosses, but a good steward for the kingdom of God as well. So always got to make sure that, you don't just work for yourself. You work for those above you. You work for your Creator himself. So you should always do the best that you can do, not just for your employers, your bosses and all that, but also for your Creator. And so that's one thing, at least, in my personal life, that definitely translates to the work that I do. It's always a good time. Chris says, if I could be a character, who would it be? I don't know. Well, I don't know. I would love to be a stormtrooper, frankly. I think it'd be fun. kind of walk around and passive aggressively somewhat bully people. It'd just be fun, It's obviously my personality is not that, but to be able to act out as a character contrary to how I am in real life, I think that would just be fun. A lot of actors say they always love a good villain role because it's just fun to play. I'm kind of the same vein. My brother says I'm very good at playing a villain, particularly in my eyebrows. Just, there's kind of a switch. I'm just kind of, but of course, I'm not really like that. But it is kind of fun to explore that different kinds of things. So it would be kind of fun to be like a stormtrooper or a Kylo Ren. That would be cool. As far as like stage performing goes, gosh, there's a myriad of things that it would be really, really cool to do. Like I said, I'm a vocalist. I love to sing. I've always had a decent-ish voice, I guess. Some had said. So people just like my speaking voice too. I've often been told in like English classes, like, you should be a voice actor. You should be a narrator, an audiobook narrator. The amount of times I've heard that. And I've been known to do impressions, like voice impressions as well. And one of my favorites to do is Sean Connery, kind of that old Scottish type voice. I love doing that voice. It's a lot of fun. My roommate kind of made the observation, he's like, wow, you have a tendency to just kind of sort of download voices into your head and then just replicate, just come flying out. I said, you're not wrong. He's like, you should be a voice actor. I said, yeah. You're only the 150th person to ever tell me that. But who knows? And that's the cool thing. Working for Disney, there's always that outlet. There's always that possibility to do. So there's no shortage of opportunity when it comes to working for such a company as this. Everybody starts somewhere. Like, even, give you an example, the main proprietor, the boss of Hollywood Studios, started out as a college program student back in the day. So literally, my boss's boss's boss of Hollywood Studios was at one point a college program cast member. So sky's the limit, basically. Another question, Disney character. What Disney character? Are we talking just hypothetical, or would I want to play them or just be them? I mean, Flynn Rider's pretty funny. I like that character. I love the movie Tangled as well. I just love that slightly sarcastic but heart of gold kind of male character. Flynn Rider's just funny. I love him. I've been told I would make a pretty good Beast from Beauty and the Beast. I've kind of got that big baritone type voice that kind of lends itself to that character. So I've always kind of liked that idea. That'd be really cool. Other Disney character, or like I said, being a villain would be kind of cool. I think it'd be funny to try and be Gaston. That would be kind of funny. Tell people I'm really good at expectorating. I think that'd just be fun. Like I said, a good villain role that is so contrary to who you really are it's just fun to play. Any other questions here, guys? Yes, of course. All right. A little private chat here saying, would I do a third program? Really hard to say. Really depends, especially on how this program ends. Whether or not I get a cool opportunity maybe to go and stay on with the brand. I've already, as I said earlier, I've today made the confirmation that I will extend this Disney program. So I will still be around longer in the Disney program than I initially thought, which is good. I love the role that I have. It's incredible. So much fun. Every day I always say a quick little thank you prayer. I always say, just, Lord, thank you for this incredible opportunity, because it is so much fun. And so as to whether or not maybe I stick around doing this, it really kind of up in the air. Now, if I apply, maybe they don't want me full-time, part-time, whatever. Just go home, stay home for a little bit, come back for another program. There's people that have done 3 and 4 different Disney programs. So definitely not an end of possibility there. All right, looks like we got about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes left on our stream here. Any other questions that you guys maybe would like to have discussed? Anything you maybe want to see? Should I go get a snack or something? Cafe Prima Piatto is right around the corner here. Should I go get something to eat? Or do y'all just not want to see me sit and eat a burger on live for 30 minutes? Let's see. All right. Wonder how many of us are left. I think we had up to about 10 people in the chat, which, hey, you know, for our first time, or at least our first time this year, not bad. I think I've had a good time just sitting here running my mouth, as I always do. Little mouse from Zootopia, you run your mouth too much. Let's see. Okay. Jedi Sentinel is saying go eat. All right, what should I go eat then? Let's see. Let's go and see. Let's take you guys with me. Go right inside here. Uh-oh, wrong button. Here we are, Primo Piatto. Always a great place. Traveling Shoes says thank you. Thank you, Traveling Shoes. It's been awesome to have you guys here. Go ahead and get my paperwork out. I think I got, let's see. We've got a spicy Italian sandwich. Claque Monsieur bacon cheddar burger. I've had that before. It's really good. I might just eat this. There's a meatball sandwich. It might be kind of messy. 3 cheese panini with biscotto. Okay. Oh, Hawkeye says, hey, that's awesome. Hey, how we doing? Doing well. Could I get the bacon cheddar burger and a regular fountain drink as well? We'll just do fries. We'll just do regular fries. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. And then I also am a cast member. Luke. It'll be for David. Let's do it for here. Over at Hollywood Studios. Thank you very much. Over the card. Right here. Excuse me. There we go. Thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. Soda fountain. Oh, man. Out of Bark Zero Sugar. Darn. Is your Coke Zero? Minute Maid. Out of Coke Zero too? First, we need ice. Because I need a different cup. I haven't even used this cup. I don't think I missed your kid. My cups not working. Here. And I need a different cup. Okay, I'm gonna just go grab a double.
Let me finish up on something.
Hey, my cup's not working with the machine. Do I do that first? Because I did it for ice. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, I probably didn't do that then. Let's see. You got the little sensor thing on the bottom because they're food storage. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Did I just run out of Mr. Pibb? It did. Okay. Switch over to Coke. Find ourselves a spot. Sit down and enjoy. Table out of the way. There we go. Actually, leave my bag here. I'll be back. Give me a few napkins. There we go. Napkins. Okay. Alrighty. So, did I Sentinel Thaddeus, of course, with the important questions. For my snacking tonight, I have this specialty Disney gift card. Got the little gift card barcode there in the back. But this is called a Batuan Spira. This is a metal, kind of like a coin, kind of gift card. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So this got a decent clink on the ground. It's called Batu and Spirit. Now, the lore of Batu is all of the natives of Batu and Black Spider Outpost use this as their main source of credit chip. So it's a Star Wars credit chip that is also a Disney World gift card. So I got this, preloaded it like $100 at the beginning of my program, and I'll reload it every so often so that when I come out on a night like this, I have a little bit of running money to go with my adventures. Really good for like getting popcorn and stuff too. They scan it just like any other Disney gift card, and it's a nice, cool Star Wars piece of Batu and memorabilia that's actually functional as an actual credit chip. Really, really cool. So how much for one of those? This particular one, they cost about $100 to get them pre-loaded, basically. So pay $100, and I had some cash at the beginning of my program, so I was able to do that. So they preload it with $100, plus a little activation fee or whatever, and then you can just reload it constantly like any other credit or gift card. So every couple of weeks, save up some money, reload the gift card, gives you a little bit of cash or credit to run with through your adventures in the parks or whatever. Also helps you budget everything as well. This is a quick service location, but they got some really nice silverware. And an actual napkin too. So. You can find the Batu and Spira little Star Wars credit chip anywhere. Actually, most of the bigger, what do they call? Oh yeah, most of the big merchandise shops over on Galaxy's Edge will have them. I got mine at Doc Hondar's Den of Antiquities. And that's usually where I go to refill it every couple of weeks. Okay. This is a gorgeous, fancy quick service. This, yeah, it's traveling shoes. This is a very fancy quick service. Look at this burger. Absolutely gargantuan. So, lovely black Angus beef. Burger patty, lettuce, tomato, a kind of garlic, I think it's like a garlic mayonnaise, and of course all the bacon. Look at all that. I'm gonna have to just unhinge my jaw just to eat it properly. It's like the old dog commercial. Take it, take it, take it, take it. I love chicken. Very good. Bigger, 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 bigger. So, little Cafe Prima Piatto over here, just kind of on the ground level of the Riviera Resort. It's technically a level below the lobby, but just outside, kind of around the corner that way, there's a nice little bar lounge. Usually open pretty late in the evening from what I've seen. So if you like to go to a more dressed up kind of fancier bar club, that kind of experience, there's one of those just around the corner. If that's your thing. It's not really my thing. Kind of like I said in the Oga's Cantina video a couple of weeks back, I'm not much of a bar goer, but some people are, and Disney definitely can cater to those kind of services if that's your thing. I also love the music in here. Kind of reminds me of Ratatouille. So much bacon, it's just falling out of the bun here. Yeah, Nathan, I suppose you're right. Breakfast and dinner all at the same time with all this bacon. Alrighty, Max 4TC says, hello there. Welcome to the live stream. Just hanging out in Prima Piatto here at the Riviera Resort, having me a little bit of dinner. I've been talking about my experience currently and my previous experience on the Disney College Program. Just hanging out, answering some questions, having a good old time. It's been a lot of fun. At least I think it's been fun for me. I hope it's been fun for you guys as well. They've not told me otherwise, so I guess it's been okay. Bacon for supper. I do love a good slice of the pork belly myself. Oftentimes, we'll do that for breakfast around the apartment. Let's see. Map says, yes, I am doing the Disney College Program now. I'm on my second Disney College Program, as a matter of fact. Did one last year, around this time as well. And I worked in quick service and outdoor food and beverage service in Animal Kingdom. And I had a wonderful time. Excuse me. And then, of course, this time, I am working at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Rise of the Resistance and attractions. So much fun. I'm a huge nerd, huge Star Wars fan. Always loved interactive storytelling like we have at Galaxy's Edge. It's always been so much fun to me. And so the fact that I now get to live that as my work experience is the coolest thing ever. It does come with its challenges, as any Disney job does. Sometimes you deal with cranky guests, cranky kids, cranky guests with their cranky kids. You know, something. You know, there's some downsides, I suppose, day to day. You know, kind of drudgery. But at the end of the day, it's been a fantastic experience. Taking a little break for my supper right now. I had a thought I was going to say. I forgot what the thought was. Oh, yes. One of the things that comes with being on the college program is an erratic sleep schedule and just overall life schedule. You know, because the Walt Disney World company is a 24-hour company. So literally, you could go to work at any time of the day or night, as sometimes is the case. So learning to keep up with your physical health, keeping yourself rested, super, super important. There's some coworkers that I have, and I'm just wondering, how are you still standing? They come in, I said, okay, what'd you have for breakfast this morning? He said, I had a monster the size of my head and a Cliff Bar, breakfast of champions. I said, oh, so you're on a fast track to cardiac arrest. I said, did you at least have some water to go with that caffeine jolt? He said, not as much as I should have. Go figure. Little question in the chat. Can I see fireworks from the neighboring parks? I might be able to possibly see the Epcot fireworks because it's just a little bit that way. But you'd have to look over. I probably couldn't see it from the ground, or at least where I'm at, because that way you've got the Boardwalk Resort as well as, what's it called? Oh, the Yacht and the Beach Club. So you've got those resorts that are all kind of connected together. those of which, of course, from which you can walk into Epcot from, which is really cool. So in a way, you could totally walk from here to Epcot. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but you can totally do it. But it's about that time. I don't know if I'll get a glimpse of the fireworks or not. What I am going to do is finish up this burger, take you guys back outside. To apply for the Disney College Program, what I did, frankly, I Googled Disney College Program, and at certain times during the year, depending on what semester you apply for, they will have opportunities open up. I applied in order to start for a spring program, which starts and runs from like January to August-ish. It's kind of a window of time frame there. I applied for that in late October-ish. So depending on whether you do a fall program or a spring program, depending on what part of the year you apply and what part of the year you get a semester to go, that'll depend on when and where you apply. So it's a pretty simple process for the most part. You submit an online application, they look at your stuff, you list some work experience, they'll usually set up a phone call interview. Nowadays, they do that a lot. Sometimes, like back a few years back, I've been told they didn't necessarily always do that. But nowadays, at least, they'll set up a phone interview, kind of get a bead on what kind of work experience you might have, where you might want to work within the Walt Disney World company. Because it's only at Walt Disney World that they have the college program. They used to have the college program out in Anaheim, California, of course, at Disneyland, but COVID kind of killed that. So they've not done that since. It's only here at Walt Disney World that they have the Disney College Program. Then, of course, they also have the International College Program, International Exchange Program. So foreign exchange students can come and work for the company in a similar capacity. It's really, really cool. Met a lot of really cool people through that program as well. The temperature of a tauntaun, inside of a tauntaun, it's about lukewarm, Dad Shoe. Contrary to popular belief, it's not medium rare. It's lukewarm. They say Chewie is short for Chewbacca. Ben is kind of short for Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what Luke is short for? A stormtrooper. Luke's a little short for a stormtrooper. No, Dad, Chew, Luke's a little short for a stormtrooper. Somebody want to get this walking carpet out of my way. Who's scruffy looking? Laugh it up, fuzzball. Very good question there. Frankly, my favorite cheap snack on property. Easy answer to that, I'll show you. And if you know me personally, and you've probably watched the channel before, you probably know what I'm about to pull out. So, cheap kind of snack that goes a long way, especially on Disney property where everything's really expensive, is popcorn. I'm a popcorn fiend. I love it. I love it. My mom loves it. My brother loves it. We're a big popcorn eating family. Popcorn's just awesome. And Walt Disney World popcorn, frankly, excuse me, some of the best out there. Magic Rooster says bucket. Yes. So with popcorn, obviously you can have a refillable bucket for a small little price of what used to be $2.25. It's now about $2.50, $2.60 something with inflation this year. It's gone up in the last year. But for a small little fee, you can get your popcorn bucket refilled at any popcorn stand, at any park, from now till the end of time. Technically, the sign says it's valid for the remainder of your stay at Walt Disney World, but no. Popcorn buckets can be used once you purchase a bucket from now till the end of time. And I have done just the thing. This, I think I briefly mentioned it while I was talking with the Traveling Shoes on their stream last week. Last year, on May the 4th, I bought this bucket. And you can see, it's pretty much as big as my head. And this thing holds so much popcorn. Like, it is completely hollow. It holds about 2 or 3 of the standard sized refill scoops from the popcorn stands. And this has more than paid for itself 100 times over. Just because I love popcorn, and it just holds so much. So for the very same refill fee, you have some buckets that don't hold as much popcorn. The regular base bucket holds a certain amount, but this holds so much. Of course, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I just think it looks cool. I'm a huge fan of the Clone Wars. So this is the salvage Clone Trooper bucket. And a little fun Star Wars fact, the blue stripe on the helmet means it is part of the 501st Clone Battalion, which is Anakin Skywalker's clone battalion in Revenge of the Sith. Yes, I crushed the pop. Yes. So, yeah. I haven't filled this up in about a week. I thought I might go somewhere today and fill it up. I haven't done it yet, but when I do fill it up, this thing lasts me a good while. So it's yeah, I love it. And even if I don't have popcorn in it, it just looks cool just sitting on my dresser with my various lightsabers and other Star Wars things. So I'm very happy to have gotten it when I did, because it was part of the May the 4th bundle last year. They had this, and they had an electronic Death Star bucket as well. The Death Star bucket, it holds a decent amount, but not as much. But it does have like cool lights and sounds with like the laser and everything on it. Really, really cool. But I wanted the helmet one. And then when I realized how much popcorn it held, I'm like, oh, I've got to hang on to this. Traveling shoes love popcorn? Yes, I love popcorn too. Do you ever... Yes, I was about to say, the maple popcorn. You ever go to Epcot there at the Canada Pavilion, get the maple popcorn? It's... Okay, I'm not always the biggest fan of like a sweet popcorn, like kettle corn, but the maple popcorn is kind of growing on me a little bit. When it comes to certain snacks, I like certain things to be savory and certain other things to be sweet. Traveling shoes, cinnamon popcorn is the bomb. Yes, we love cinnamon popcorn in our family. That's like our one exception to the savory versus sweet rule. That's a great bucket. Yes, it is a great bucket. My little nerdy heart is so happy to have it. Matter of fact, well, it's 9 o'clock now. Traveling dad shoe says pit stop number 1. At this time, only place I could go to, caramel cooch. Yes, the caramel popcorn over in the Deutschland Pavilion. You know, you have to be careful which one you go for, though. You don't want to get the prepackaged one. You want to get the paper packaged bags that they pop fresh. That's one thing I did learn. Don't necessarily grab the one off the rack on the shelf inside. You go for the filled paper bags that they pop fresh. That's what you go for. It looks... That's one thing. So it was a little advantage to me working in not just quick service, but in outdoor vending on my last program. I kind of know how they run the popcorn machines because I myself ran the popcorn machines. I can always kind of tell when they're about to do a fresh batch. So if I need to get it refilled, I'll wait until I know they're popping a fresh batch, and then I'll go up and get it. And in particular, for at least in Animal Kingdom where I worked, I know how all of those popcorn stands operate because, well, I ran them, operated them, I cleaned them. I know how to clean them all. Oh my gosh, cleaning a popcorn kettle, it's a job. But I always know which popcorn stand has the best one in Animal Kingdom. Particularly, in my opinion, that's the popcorn stand in Africa, right off the bridge. Reason being is because it is such a giant pot, they have to put extra butter in it, otherwise the popcorn will burn. Obviously, they don't want to burn the popcorn, but it's such a giant pot that they pop it in. They have to add extra butter. So, because they add the extra butter, that just makes everything all that much better. But they do that because it's such a big kettle, they don't want to burn the popcorn by getting it too hot and then too big of a kettle. So they always add just a little bit of extra butter. So whenever I'm in Animal Kingdom and I want popcorn, I go to Africa. Extra butter, Dad Shoe. That's that one in particular because it's such a big pot. They add the extra butter just kind of keep things going so they don't burn the popcorn at the bottom. So yeah, the little popcorn stand called Mahindi. Sign you up. Yeah, next time y'all are in Animal Kingdom, going through Africa, popcorn stand called Mahindi. It's right off the bridge across from Tambu Tambu where they do the Dole Whips. That one, in my experience, has been the best place in Animal Kingdom thus far to get popcorn. As far as the rest of the parks go, kind of have to be careful. I know in Magic Kingdom, almost all of the popcorn stands on Main Street, they're all pretty good. Particularly the one to the castle right as you're going out the park towards the gate, next to where the city hall and all that is. That particular popcorn stand is also very good. I usually stop by that one on my way out. And then Hollywood Studios, there's a couple of good ones around the front of the park near the Chinese Theater that are usually pretty good, though not always. Sometimes if the kettle's not working, they have the pre-popped boxes of popcorn. And so they sell those as the refills, but they don't quite hold as much as even a regular scoop that goes in the bucket. So you have to make sure that the kettle is good and working for that day. You heading out, Dad Shoe? Well, thank you very much for stopping by and saying hello and talking with us. Of course, thank you to everybody who's been hanging out with us tonight. It's been absolute joy. Let us know if you want me to do more of these more often. Depending on how my work schedule goes, we'll see if we can't make it happen. That's the thing. Right now, month of May is basically Star Wars month. So, of course, we had May the 4th celebrations for Star Wars Land and all that. And then here at the end of the month, we've got the Mandalorian and Grogu coming to Millennium Falcon with the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So the month of May is basically all Star Wars month anyway. So I know coming up here in the very near future, I might be a little busy. But if we can't maybe do this, maybe once or twice a month while I'm down here, especially now that I'm going to be on my program extension, we'll definitely see if we can't make it happen. I'm going to finish up my supper here. Looks like everybody else is getting out here too, ready to go home and go to bed. I mean, this is like real dishes. You hear that? That's a real dish at a quick service. Kind of interesting. I don't know if I should just leave it on the table. Actually, no. I'll be a good steward. I'll put my own dishes away. First, I gotta pack up my stuff. You guys. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Aljola. Make sure I don't run over a child. That's one thing. No matter where you work, what your role is in the Disney parks, you will get really good. Get the door. Oh, I hear some fireworks from somewhere. Oh, what direction did I come in? As I was saying, one thing you get really good at is stopping on a dime, because you're always that close away from running a child over, because children run amok. When I worked last year in outdoor food and beverage vending, I would push around stock carts and driving those things around. You get a good workout going. But trying to stop those things when a kid just darts out in front of you on the pathway is not an easy task. So I guess it's a skill that I kind of learned in working at a Mexican restaurant back home. You always come around a corner, you see a giant sizzling hot skillet of fajitas coming. You just stop where you are. You don't move. That's kind of a skill I have taken and evolved over my time, especially at Disney. Absolutely gorgeous evening. I think it's about time that we're going to call it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight on our little live stream. Like I said, I am trying to talk. Thank you. You too. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Like I said, if you would like to see more live streams coming out, let us know. Let us know what kind of live stream topics you want to do, whether or not you want to see me go to different places, resorts, different park events. Just there we go. Okay, I think the finale's over. Okay, so if there's certain park events you want me to go check out, or just want me to hang out at the resorts like I'm doing tonight, let me know. Drop a comment down there. Let us know on the channel. If there's any certain video topics you want me to cover while I'm here on my program extension, especially going in through the holidays, let me know. And given my work schedule, I will see what I can do. And of course, we're always going to try to just have fun. That's why we're doing this. We've got a nice little tight-knit group that we've kind of built here over the last couple of months. And even before I even started this program, it's been really, really cool seeing everybody come in and join us. It's just been a lot of fun. And that's why we do this, is to have fun. So definitely let us know the certain things you want to see on the channel. And of course, always have a magical Disney day.
Every smile, spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere.